Hi children, welcome to ICT Learning. So this is the third video for grade 9. It is about programming, and if you haven't watched my previous videos for grade 9, please go and watch them first. And this is about programming. So we have done our initial videos for grade 7 and 8. So if you follow them first, that would be better, because in this chapter they are not starting from beginning. It's something bit advanced for a beginner. So if you're not very comfortable with Scratch development, please go and watch them first, and then you can do better in this chapter. All right. So in this chapter, I'm planning to do two videos for the same chapter. There will be part one and part two. So this is the part one of programming chapter for grade 9. Right. So in this chapter, we will be discussing about conditional selection, right, and repetition control structure, basically, and especially arrays, about arrays. So flow charts and how to use flow charts for solving problems, scratch programming, those things we have done basic lessons in grade 7 and 8. So this is not very new for most of you. But if you have missed those things in grade 7 and 8, better to watch those videos first, because I have explained every single example in your textbook with Scratch tool, right? So if you haven't still downloaded the Scratch software, you can go to this link and download it. In grade 7 and 8, they were not using the latest version, but in my videos, I have used the latest version and explained. So it won't be a hard thing. Uh, so better to download the latest version of the software. So gaming, right? Most of the, especially boys, I know you are very fond of computer games, right? Even we sometimes get addicted to these things, but this father is telling it's better to develop your own games, right? It's good to play games, but not very addicted way. But if you can develop your own programs, your own games, that would be very amazing thing to do. You can earn, right? So always it's good to play games, but if you can build your own computer game, that would be amazing thing, right? So for those things, programming uh, is very important, not only for the development of computer programs. All these websites and computer related applications, to develop them, you should use some kind of a programming language, right? So in this initial grades, you are learning like graphical way of programming. So that will be very good for you to put the relevant foundation. So based on that foundation, you can go to any other programming languages using like C Sharp, Java. Uh, there are so many languages, Python and all. So those things can be used to develop uh, web applications and other computer applications, mobile applications, and all these things. So when we learn about the control structures, we learned about the simple selection. So this part is kind of a bit revision for you. So here they are talking about a coin, right? So head and tail. Hope you are comfortable with those two terms, right? This is the head of a coin. This is the um, tail of a coin, right? So here they have given you a flow chart, right? Hope you remember the nodes and all, how to do a flow chart. You have the start and end nodes, right? And here you toss the coin. And here is the condition component. So is it head? So if it is head, you just show or print head. It's head, like that, a message. And if it is not the head, right, no part, then it is the tail. So you are showing it is tail, right? It's very simple uh, program for you to develop and see, right? Okay, shall we do it in the Scratch? Yeah, so I have already installed and it's already in my machine. So always you start with this one, when flag This flag is clicked. That is the starting point of it, right? Then you have to give some command. So this one in your book it is purple, but in the latest version it's not in here, but in here under looks, right? So say, and you can say tell any message here. For example, in this one they have tell toss the coin, right? So you can give some time to print this one and stay still, right? Then you ask, you get an input from the user, right? Because now tossing is happening in the client side, like in the user side. So you are asking uh, what side did it land on, right? And you have to get the user input. And that input you are going to store in a variable. So this is the variable section. So you are going to create a new variable called side landed, right? You can either use it for all sprites or for only for this sprite. That is okay. And in here, under variables, now you get the user input from the third part and you set that particular value for the variable you have created. So um, the answer you get from the above question, you take it and then you assign it to the variables, right? Hope you remember about variables where we store values temporarily, right? Then now, then what you have to do in the flowchart, if you remember, it's about a condition. You toss it and you get the value, right? And then you have to do a condition, right? Is it head or tail, right? So here you get that answer and you assign it to the side landed variable. Then you take this under control, you have this if else thing, right? So under if else, you check a condition, right? So you are checking whether this side landed variable is equal to head. So this is the same thing customer or the user should give, right? If it is head, then you are going to print one thing. If it is tail, you are going to print another thing, right? So here, if it is head, you are printing head, and else means if it is not head, that means if it's tail, you are going to uh, print this, right? Very simple thing. So shall we start, right? Toss the coin, right? And what is the side? So you ask the user to toss the coin and you are asking what is the side you got. So I'm telling head. If it is head, then it will print head, right? So see hope you remember the variables. The side landed variable has the value head. We'll do it again. Toss the coin. But what side did you get, right? If it is tail, then it will print tail. Very simple thing. Okay. Okay, let's move on, right? So here it's very simple thing. You have one condition and you have two options, right? Based on the condition, if it's true, one option is selected. If the condition is false, then the other option is selected. But in next place, they are going to talk about selection out of many options. Earlier, you had only two options, but here you can see it is having so many options. So they are, in this scenario, they are going to toss a dice. So dice will have 6 sides, right? So here you start, you toss the dice, you get the value, and you check each of the value. Is it 1? If it is yes, then you show 1. Is it 2? Then you show the value 2, right? So is it 3? You show the value, right? Is it 4, 5? Like that, you check the values and you print accordingly, right? So if you see the Scratch program, you may be scared, but don't worry. It is using nested if else's, right? So that's why it looks very big and hard, but we'll try it out. So you can use actually up to this part only you have can remove. You can work on the same thing I am showing to make your life easy. So you use the same thing when flag is clicked. So you have to tell toss the dice, right? You have to toss the dice, not the coin now. Toss the dice. And you have to ask what is the value you got. Sorry. So what is the value? Okay. So then we'll have another variable, not side landed. If you want, we can edit this one. Otherwise, we'll just take it and we'll put value, right? For only this sprite. Sprite is this one, right? All these things were explained very nicely in grade 7 and 8 chapters. That's why I'm not telling it again and again. So this is the value, right? So then you get the answer from the user and you set the value to the this value variable. So up to this part, it's the same thing, right? Then we have to take a if else, right? I'm starting with a simple if else, right? We'll see how this is going to grow. Okay. So initially I have to check whether value is 1. Then I have to print value is 1, right? That's it. So if the value is 1, right? So my variable value, right? If value is 1, right? Then I have to print something. Sorry. Then I have to print uh, say like you are telling it's 1 or just putting 1, right? 1 for 2 seconds. So this is when value is 1. But if it is not, you have another few scenarios, not one option, you have multiple options. Then you have to check again, right? For that, I'm using another block. In the else part, I'm using another block, right? Again, I'm checking the same thing. If value is, right, variable value is, if value is 2, right? Then you print something, right? You tell value is 2, right? But if value is 1, if no, value is 2, then it's okay. But if not, the else part, again, we have few options. Therefore, we have to go uh, for another if else, right? So you hope you understand the pattern. So if you see the picture, you will be like a bit afraid, but it's not that hard, right? So you check the value, is it 3? So in the else part, we are doing this. So that means it's not, value is not 1, value is not 2. Now value is 3 we are checking, right? And here you say it's 3, right? Again, for the else part, we have to take another if else, because still the options are not over, right? So here, now we have to check the next options, right? If it is 3, you print it, but if it's not, then you have to check whether it's 4, right? Is it 4? If it is 4, you can just print it, right? If it is not, again, you have few options, right? We have to check a few more options. So else. So again, you check whether value is 5, right? If value is 5, you are printing something, right? But if it is not, do we need another control block? No. If it is not 5, that means all these options were evaluated. Is it 1? Is it 2? Is it 3? Is it 4? Is it 5? All scenarios no. Then only one option you are having, right? It is 6, right? So you print 6. Okay. We'll run this and see. Toss the dice and they are asking the value, right? So I'm telling 5. Then it will print 5. So when you see this, it's not very uh, like lot of things to check, but when you're writing the program, your thinking pattern, the logical thinking will improve definitely. So if you see here, again, I will do toss the dice and it will ask the value. And if it is 4, it will just print the value you typed, right? So hope you understood this one as well. So the numbers will be displayed based on the condition it satisfies, right? So now we are going to learn about the control structures. That means control structures means with the condition thing, this if else stuff. And with the control structure, you are going to do some repetition, right? So repetition is about doing it again and again and again, right? So the repetition can be like done in different ways. Now, one way is like in the repetition, the like ending and the beginning can happen based on a condition. You can do it like this, right? So if we check this one, the example one here, you are going to display numbers from 1 to 5, right? You start, you begin, these are the start and end nodes, and you take a variable and keep the value as 1. So your number is 1, right? Then you check whether your number is 5 or less, right? If it is 5, right, then you show the number. If it is not, right, then it's over. That means number is like more than 5, like 6 scenario, it's going to end because you are going to display only 1 to 5. So if it is less than 5 or equal to 5 only, you are showing the number and you are adding 1 for that number. So initially it goes like this. Forget about this repetition. This is very similar to what we did earlier, right? Take a number, you check whether the number is 5 or less. If it is yes, then you show the number, right? Else you stop it. So this is basic condition. But the difference is after you showing the number, you increment this variable. You make it 2. So then it will again checking it. Now number is 2. Is the number 5 is number is less than 5, right? So it's going through this. Again you are adding 1 to the number. That means now your number is 3. You again go through this cycle like that until the number is 6. This repetition will happen, right? Hope you understand. At the beginning, condition is checked, right? And if the condition is true, only the repetitive work will happen, right? So always the number is shown and 1 will be added to the number and the condition will be checked. And if the number exceeds 5 only, that means the condition is not satisfied. So the repetition will end at that place. Right? Hope you can develop your own Scratch program because it's very simple thing, right? We'll see. We'll work on Scratch. First, understand how the flow charts are working. Okay, then they are talking about consider a water pump filling water into a tank, right? So the pump will work until the tank is full, right? So here they have given you a simple flow chart. So understanding flow charts and developing your own flow chart is also important. So always you can try this. Read the example, pause the video, and you do the flow chart yourself, and then you check it. Understood? So that way you can develop your logical thinking because if you can develop the flow chart, then you can move on to scratch development, right? Even now, don't do like this. You uh, have this flow chart in your book. Don't look at that and just do the scratch development. First, you think about the problem. You try to do the flow chart itself. Now, in real life, I am doing the programming, right? That's my job. So I'm not doing flowcharts for each of I have never done the flowcharts in my professional way, like because this thinking should happen in your head. So for that training, first you have to develop your own flowcharts. Then you will understand, this is how the logical thinking happens. Then you can go for the development because still you are very young at this. So after you are at the professional level, you will never do the flowcharts like. You will have to in some scenarios, but normal day-to-day programming, you don't need the flowcharts kind of you. This logical thinking happen in your head, right? So you begin and you um, operate the water pump, right? So water will flow into the tank and it will check a condition. Is the tank full? If the tank is full, no need to continue to work, right? The pump will stop. You have to instruct or you have to switch off the pump, water pump. But if it's not full, it's a repetition. Again, water flows, check the condition. Water flows, check the condition. Like that, this will be a repetition until the tank is full. When the tank is full only, the water pump will stop. That is how this is working. There's another example, example 3, right? Consider marking attendance of students, right? If students are present, you will mark with 1. If it's not, it will mark as 0 if the student is absent. But there may be so many students, maybe 40, 50 students in your class. So you have to call each name, right? We'll check how the repetition works here, right? Begin, you check the first name. First student's name will be called out, right? And is the student present? If it's no, you just mark as 0. If it is yes, you mark as 1 for the presence, right? So then even in no scenario, it comes here. Even if it's yes scenario, it comes here. So this is the condition part, right? And then you check here any more names to be called. That means this is the first student. So think the next one, right? You have some more names to call. Yes. So yes will take you up to here. Again, this repetition is this part will happen. So you call out the student. If the student is present, you mark it present. If it's not, you put 0 and for the absence and you call. Again, you check whether there are more names. Yeah, only 2 kids were like called out, right? So we have to go for the third one. Like that until all the students are ending, you do this as a repetition. So here, we'll think this is the last one. No more kids to be called out. Then this is the end of your program. Understood? Okay. Now about the scratch development, repetition control structures, right? So repetition, hope you remember again and again I'm talking. Repetition means you are doing it continuously. Now earlier one we checked a condition and based on the condition we did the repetition, right? So here this is about repetition with a definite number of times, right? There is a slot here. You can tell, please repeat 5 times, please repeat 10 times. Like that, you can tell how many number of times this should repeat, right? So this is the slot you can do it. So in this example, it's about displaying numbers from 1 to 10, right? So we'll do it and see. Okay, we'll start like the always we are starting with the same thing, right? When the flag is clicked, right? Then you need to have a variable to keep this number because you have to print from 1 to 10, right? So I will create a variable. It will be A, right? You can have any name, and hope you remember when I told about naming variables, it's better to use something meaningful. Now in your book they have used A, but it would be better if you use something like number or num. Okay, then everybody knows this is about a number. Okay, I have done a small change here. Then you set that number to 1 because we have to start from number 1 and you have to display up to 10 numbers, right? So then there are control structures for repetition. See, this is the what thing we are talking about. There are a few more repetitions things. First, we'll talk about this. So here you have to repeat until a definite number of time, right? Until 10 times. Then you say your variable, right? You say for a time, or you can just we'll use the same thing in your book. So you are just saying um, not any time, just saying it, right? You say the number, right? Then you have to kind of like wait, right? Right. So wait for like some time, or yeah, we'll wait for some time. Wait for 1 second, and then you are going to change your number. You are going to increment your variable, right? So you change your number by 1. You can change this like now here in this example, we are going to display numbers from 1 to 10. But if you want to display multiples of 2, you can change it to 2, kind of. Okay, hope you understand. Okay, we'll see. So now no input is taken from the user. You start it, you tell the numbers. Here, you say the number. Increment it, say the number. Increment it, say the number. Increment it, say the number. Hope you understood. So if we change this to 2, we'll see what happens. Yeah, so that will be printing the um, odd number. So if you change this to 0 and 2, you can get even numbers. Understood. So there can be different things. So up to 20 it will be print because I am asking you to do it 10 times. Understood. So this is about repetition with a definite number of time. Here the repetition will be happen based on a given condition, right? So for example, in this one, they are using a condition here, displaying all positive integers, right? So until 5 only, you have to stop. Now you can give, if you use the earlier one, you can use repeat until 5 or something like definite number, or you can give a condition. Okay. This is very important in mostly real time because we can use a competition, like up to what number you have to repeat. Okay. So this repeat block, I'm going to remove it, right? I'm going to use a different repeat block. Repeat until a condition is there. Okay. So I'm using an operator and I'm telling if the number is, so instead of a, I'm using num, right? If number is greater than 5 only, this should happen, right? So first you tell your number, you print it, and then you wait for some time. We are using wait because otherwise you cannot see the result. That's why we are waiting. Why did it apply? You wait for some time and then you change this value. Same thing, only the thing is the repetition is based on a condition. Wait, should be 1. And here it should be number variable. Number variable should be starting from 1 and it should increment. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Because when the number is greater than 5, if it's 6, it will stop here. Now, if I make it to 10, it will print up to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, like that, up to 10. Okay. Hope you understood. So same thing in your textbook. The third thing is like it is about infinite number of times. So usually this is not a good idea. Why? This will never stop forever, right? So it will consume our resources. Normally in the real programming, if you do something like this, your application will crash. So it's not good thing to do until infinite number of time because the loop should stop at some time. But here you have something called forever. So you can print like all positive numbers. We'll use the same example and we'll remove this and we'll take the forever thing. So in forever, there is no any condition to check. It just will happen for the whole time. Understood? So same thing, you get the number and you assign this variable number to 1 and then you print that number, right? Then you wait for some time, right? And then you change this particular variable value. You increment it by 1, right? So we'll see what happens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it will never stop. Understand? Because there is no any condition to stop it. Okay, see, now I will stop this. Otherwise, it will continuously doing this. So you can display all the positive numbers you want. Okay, the next part, developing visual programs involving repetitions, right? So here they want to print the numbers, the multiples of 12 of any number, right? So you take like, for example, if it's number 2, you take the first 12 multiples, 2, 4, 8, like that up to 24, right? So this can be done based on the user input if you want, right? So you begin, you get the number. So this is the input. You get the input from the user and then uh, number of times you keep a variable as 1, right? So this number of times will be incremented. See, because you have to get like if your number is 2, 2 into 1, 2 into 2, 2 into 3, 2 into 4. That is how you have to calculate. So your number is 2, number of times is will be increment 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 like that. So until your number of times is 12 because you want until up to 12 multiples. So if it is 12 or less only, this will be continually happen. You take the number and you multiply with the number of times and you show it. Understood? Until if it is 12 or less only, it should repetitively happen. If it is more than 12, then this should be stopped. Understood? So we'll check this one in the Scratch programming. See this example. I will first go through the same thing, like, right? So I'm starting here, right? So I have to create two variables. Here, sorry. I will create two variables. They have used something called frequency. Okay, I will explain what these are because they have bit different than the flowchart they were using. And they have another variable called quantity. Okay. Right. So I'm setting this frequency thing to 1, right? I will tell what these things are. And then I'm getting user input, right? So I'm getting the input, how many number of times you have to do it, right? So actually, this is not actually number of times. It should, because anyway, it's if you see the flow chart, it will repeat until 12 times, right? So this is actually the number you want, the number for the multiples. So this is a small mistake, right? Because whether you want the multiples of 2, multiples of 3, multiples of 4, like that, that is what it's actually here, right? So then you set this value for the quantity you have, right? You take the answer and you put it to the quantity, right? Then you repeat it. So here they have actually used the repeat until 12 times. So they are not actually worrying about the frequency. There is a definite time here. But if you use this one, you can check whether frequency is less or equal than 12. Until that, you can continue. Understood the difference? Here, actually, even though we have increment the frequency, we are not using for the condition. Okay. So we have to have another variable called the multiple. So you take the multiple based on the two values by multiplying them, right? So you have two variables. You have the frequency and quantity. Sorry. I told you this one, you have to do like this. You have to keep it, and if it is blowing, only you have to put it. Otherwise, it will go to the wrong place. Right? So you get the quantity and you multiply it and get the answer. And then you print the answer. So this can be done in a different way also, not the same way in the book. Right? Then you change your frequency. Right? Because a frequency is like, now this is the number actually. Quantity, better to tell number. What is the number you want to have multiples, 2 or 3 or 4, like that. And 2 into, like if it's 2, 2 into 1, 2 into 3, 2 into 4, 2 into 5, like that, it will increase. And unfortunately here they have used the repeat until 12 times, a definite number, but if you use the condition, you can check whether frequency is less or equal to 12. There are different ways to do, right? So if I start it, you ask the number of multiples you want. I want multiples of 4. 4, 8, 12, 16. That's how the multiples will work. Understood? The variable names are a bit confusing in this example, but hope you understand with my explanation. Okay. So then here it's about the example 2, displaying random numbers. Random means like we don't have any pattern from 1 to 100. We are trying to trying to print random numbers like 1, 5, 6, 12 up to 100. No, so 80, 85, 91, 71. It's random, no pattern, right? So you begin, you generate a random number and you display it, and if the number is more than that, that means it will happen forever, right? So if it is more than 0, yes, yes, at least here there's a condition, but in here there's no any condition. Forever you are just printing random numbers. Understood? Okay, so we'll use this forever thing, and you take the forever one, and you can have the same variable. I will use the same variable num thing, right? These variables I will remove. Only I am going to worry about now, right? So you set the number based on the random things. So for random thing, we have a separate operator. So I have to pick random numbers from 1 to 100, right? It will randomly happen. The random function is normally in the programming languages also. We have this to pick random things. Then you print this num. Instead of x, I have put num. Usually don't use x, a, b like that because use the meaningful things. Then it's very easy to understand also what is this, what is happening. Okay, so here you take a random number, you just print it and you do it forever. 28, 96, 59, but it will be up to 1 to 100 range. Okay, hope you understood. So the condition will be never false, right? So that for it will happen for a long time, right? So here display the first multiples of up to 12 of a given number. Same thing what we did, if you remember. So instead of the definite number 12, they have a condition. This count is like the frequency we had. Same thing, they use a different way. Now this is more meaningful. Then they use the frequency and quantity. They ask the user to enter the number that is kept in number variable, and they keep a count like the frequency. And count is incremented by 1. So I told you this when I'm doing the early example. So here, instead of 12 a definite number, they check a condition. If condition is more than 12, then you have to stop. Okay, I'm not going to do the same thing again. And you can hope you can continue with it, right? So this is very interesting thing to go for a multicolored circle, right? We'll do it and see. We'll do this and see because this is the first time you are going to do something like this, right? So maybe you cannot do it by yourself for the first time, but first we'll check this and see. Okay. So for this one, we have to take this block, pen block, right? This is something new thing. In the earlier versions, they had this itself, but in the latest version, you have to get from the extensions. Hope you remember the music thing I did. So like that, you can get the extension pen, right? So instead of clear, we can do erase all, right? And then we have the forever thing, right? Forever block, right? And then we do this moving thing. Okay, from the motion, we can get this go to, right? From 0, 0 point, they're asking you to go. And then you go down, pen down, right? And then you move 150 steps, right? 150 steps, and then you change the color of your pen, right? This is randomly change the color, and then you turn from like this is the anti-clockwise, or you can turn the clockwise like that. So turn from 1 degree. That's how you get this small, small thing. I will say, see, you start always from the beginning, 0th point. You go pen down, pen up, like pen down, and then move 15 steps. It's very nice, right? You change the color by this. That's how different colors are coming. So we will just do small change and see. Like what will happen if we change this angle, the degrees angle by 10? It's a more thing. Can you see? Because erase all only, it's erasing everything. Right? So if I change this to 90 degrees, it's interesting, right? Okay, hope you understood. Yeah, the other part I will explain in the next video. So there will be another part for the chapter 3, grade 9. So hope you understood up to this. This is a very interesting thing, right? So because of the time limit and because of online learning thing, I'm just doing the examples you have in the textbook, but you can definitely improve on this, right? So hope you got something from my videos. So if you haven't still subscribed my channel, please do subscribe and share with your friends, right? It's better that all your friends learn from at least at this subject. If you are comfortable with it, the exams, it would be great, right? In this pandemic, I hope this will be doing a great service. So please share this with among your friends, and please do like and comment if you have any questions. If you are like stuck in a question, please ask. I will help my best. So yeah, thank you very much for being with us. Watch the next part as well. Thank you.